Hi, everybody. So earlier last week, I posted a video of an interaction between Hilary Baldwin and her husband, Alec Baldwin, on the red carpet. It went viral. And I saw, thanks to the Silly twins, that they have posted, a rebuttal to this video. And I think that the rebuttal 100% is making the opposite point that they're trying to make. So, I want to take this video to get into it, but before we begin, here's the intro. Welcome to Revealing the Narc. Join me as I highlight narcissistic traits in celebrities and public figures. Everything here is in my opinion and not professional advice. If you enjoy the analysis, please like and subscribe. So, what I'd like to start with is to just play that video clip, the original clip, and then I'll show you the actual clip. Or the rebuttal clip, I'm sorry. So, here we go.
It's gonna be great. You're a winner.
Oh my God, when I'm talking, you're not talking.
Sorry.
No, when I'm talking, you're not talking. This is why, yes, we'll have to just cut him out of the show.
It's gonna be great. You're a winner.
Oh my God, when I'm talking, you're not talking.
Sorry.
No, when I'm talking, you're not talking.
So it's horrible, right? And I mean, I don't know what their life is like outside. Let's just take this interaction at face value. Let's see you saw two people interacting this way, right? That's the point. So I know that a lot of people have a lot of opinions about these two, and I certainly have some as well. I just want to use this as an example to show that it's just not okay to see partners talking like this to each other. It's just not okay. So their rebuttal video, which I'll show in a minute, is meant, I think, to poke fun at the red carpet meltdown, but it doesn't help their case. If anything, it confirmed everything we suspected. From odd body language to subtle put downs, this wasn't just a joke, it was a performance and a revealing one. Let's watch that clip right now.
It's gonna be great. You're a winner.
Oh my God, when I'm talking, you're not talking.
Sorry.
No, when I'm talking, you're not talking. This is why, yes, we'll have to just cut him out of the show. And that is called, what's the word of the day?
Interrupting.
Interrupting, which could be a positive, it could be a negative, or it could be a...
Correctile dysfunction.
Yes, correctile dysfunction. I think that's one of our children trying to get into the room. But the whole point is, because our children are about to come in, the whole point is that we interrupt each other all the time. Okay, I'm coming.
Okay, go get Carmen.
Okay, so now that we cleared all of that up, wait, I cleared it up. Give me a kiss just so they know that I'm not...
Oh, I'm sorry.
Give me a kiss.
Kiss me.
Okay, so I didn't show the whole thing because there's a moment that one of their children walks in, and I don't think that that was important. Well, it is important for the message, but I didn't think it's important for us to watch that portion of the clip. So the whole video, in my opinion, confirms that the red carpet dynamic is actually their normal. When the red carpet moment went viral, Hilary snapped at Alec mid-interview, and she said, "When I'm talking, you're not talking." It struck a nerve with viewers. Naturally, they faced backlash. So what did? They made this rebuttal video not to apologize, not to clarify, but to normalize their behavior. The whole point of the video is we interrupt each other all the time, which in theory should make the red carpet moment seem harmless. But instead of clearing the air, it actually confirms to me that Hilary consistently dominates their conversations. She's not saying, "Oh, that behavior wasn't like me." She's saying, "This is what we do." And that's a subtle way of brushing off controlling behavior as quirky or cute. If someone publicly humiliates their partner and then laughs it off, later acting as if it's normal behavior, that's not accountability. That's rewriting the narrative. She's not saying, "I overstepped" or "I was out of line." She's saying, "We do this all the time. Don't overreact." It's a gaslighting in a subtle, socially acceptable way. She's reframing an unhealthy dynamic as cute and mutual. But when you actually watch that red carpet clip next to the rebuttal clip, you see it clearly. On the red carpet, Alec is trying to speak and gets steamrolled. In the rebuttal, he barely speaks at all unless prompted or corrected. This whole thing about we interrupt each other as candor. They're not owning the behavior, it's justifying it so she doesn't look like the aggressor. When someone repeatedly interrupts, controls, and dismisses their partner in public, and then follows up with, oh, we always do this, that's not casual. It's conditioning. It teaches the partner to go along with it, and it teaches the audience to accept it as this is just how we are. But guess what? Normalizing dysfunction doesn't make it less toxic. And let's be honest, this video isn't a conversation, it's a performance. Hilary is clearly the director, the lead actor, and the script supervisor all rolled into one. From the very first frame, Hilary takes the reins. She introduces the topic, she defines the word of the day, she cues Alec to respond, she corrects or finishes his sentences, and she controls the narrative arc from setup to punchline to closing with a performative kiss. It's not a dialogue, it's a monologue with a prop. Alec is basically, like I was just saying, just a prop. He barely speaks unless prompted. And when he does speak, he looks hesitant and uncertain, especially when trying to remember the phrase correctile dysfunction. It's Hilary who tells him what the phrase should be. It's Hilary who explains its meaning. It's Hilary who decides when it's time to wrap things up with a kiss for the audience. This is eerily similar to the red carpet moment where Alex starts talking and Hilary shuts him down mid sentence. It wasn't jealous, it was sharp and commanding. When I'm talking, you're not talking. That energy didn't go away in the rebuttal. It just got rebranded as cute banter. On the surface, she's trying to look like she's joking and lighthearted, that she's the funny wife making TikToks about marriage dynamics. But underneath that humor is someone steering the entire show and framing herself as the witty, in control narrator, while her husband quietly plays along from under the blanket. This is the kind of relational dynamic where control isn't overt or aggressive. It's coded in charm, performance, and public likability, and it makes it harder to spot, and easier to excuse, but it's still control. This video and the red carpet video are devaluation that are trying to be disguised as humor. This point that I'm going to talk about is the most subtle and it's the most disturbing because it shows how power plays and emotional jabs can be masked as a joke. In this video, Hilary doesn't just dominate the conversation, she steers Alec into making fun of himself and she gets to look like the clever one. Hilary says, "What's the word of the day?" Alex says, "Man-terrupting." Hilary basically he doesn't even get the words out when Hilary repeats "man-terrupting," which could be a positive or a negative, or what could it be? And Alec hesitates. He doesn't remember the word, or maybe he doesn't feel comfortable saying it. And he says, correctile dysfunction. Hilary affirms and then says, yes, correctile dysfunction. That phrase, correctile dysfunction, is framed as a witty, tongue in cheek punchline. But take a step back. It's a combination of erectile dysfunction and being corrected. It's used to label Alec as the one who interrupts and needs to be corrected. It's emasculating, it's demeaning, and it's coached. You can tell Alec isn't even sure he's saying the right thing. He hesitates and he looks unsure, almost like he's worried about saying the wrong line. And once he delivers the punchline, Hilary lights up, repeats it with pride, and moves on. It's not about what he says, it's about how she uses it to reinforce the joke she's controlling. It's important to understand that narcissistic or control heavy partners often use humor to publicly lower their partner's status while still looking playful and charming to the outside world. The message behind the joke is you're the one who interrupts, you're the one with the dysfunction, I'm the clever one who corrects you and turns it into content. This dynamic isn't new. We've seen it with Meghan and Harry all the time, where Meghan speaks over, corrects him, and we've seen it with other couples that have clear power imbalances that are masked by comedy or with a sarcastic love language. What's happening here is more than just banter. It's image management through emasculation. The joke isn't harmless. It's part of a pattern where Hilary uses humor to lower Alec while lifting herself. He's the interrupting husband with correctile dysfunction. She's the quick witted wife who turns it into a punchline. It might make people laugh, but it also sends a message that she's in control and he plays along or he gets corrected. She didn't just say the demeaning joke herself, she made Alec say it about himself. That's powerful. That's psychological. That's calculated. And it's likely not the first time something like this has happened. In the video itself, we see that Alec's body language, in my opinion, is screaming, I don't want to be here. Hillary is front and center, energized. She's leading the conversation. She's holding the phone, so she's in complete control of the camera. She's cracking jokes, and Alec looks like a man who wants to disappear. Body language doesn't lie. He's physically covered, like he's literally hiding. He's lying down and he's covered with either a sheet pulled up or a pillow over his body. In my opinion, his posture is closed off and he's not relaxed. His body language is saying, I don't want to be seen right now. When someone physically covers themselves in a conversation, especially one that's on camera, it's a huge indicator of discomfort, avoidance, or even emotional retreat. Alec looks like a man who didn't sign up for this video but agreed under pressure. He seems to be avoiding strong eye contact with Hilary or the camera. His expressions are neutral or even slightly blank. He almost looks a little bit checked out. He hesitates before responding, like he's walking on eggshells and or doesn't want to say the wrong thing. While Hilary is animated, polished, Alec is fading. His face looks flat, his tone is low. He doesn't light up once during the exchange. That's not what mutual playfulness looks like. That's someone trying to make it through a moment they didn't ask for. He's clearly not leading. He waits to be prompted to speak. And when he does speak, it's very small words. I don't think he actually says a complete sentence. And you compare this to his public persona, who in the past is known for being assertive, outspoken, even aggressive in interviews and media appearances. In my opinion, this isn't his baseline. This isn't Alec just being low key. To me, it seems almost like withdrawal, and I think it speaks volumes about what goes on behind closed doors. Okay, now let's talk about that give me a kiss moment. After this awkward word of the day bit and Alec's visible discomfort, Hilary wraps things up with give me a kiss just so that they know that dot dot dot. I actually didn't catch exactly what she says at the end. And this is meant to signal that everything is fine between us. We're a playful and affectionate couple. Don't take that red carpet moment seriously. But when you really look at it, that kiss is not romantic, it's not spontaneous, and it's not mutual. It's a command, it's a cue, and Alec obeys it like someone following directions. This immediately sends me back to that moment in Colombia when Harry and Meghan first made their appearance. And I believe there was a lip reader that heard Meghan say to Harry, hand. And then he offered her hand to hold. It's a command. The kiss wasn't about reconnection, it was about PR damage and control. It's meant to overwrite the uncomfortable tension we just watched with a polished, Instagram worthy ending. After dominating the conversation, correcting Alec, and using him as the punchline, she ends it with an act of reclaimed unity. The kiss becomes a visual bandage over what was clearly a one sided interaction. Real intimacy is mutual and it's spontaneous and forms connection. This kiss is initiated with a purpose to signal to outsiders that there's no problem. And yet everything that preceded the kiss shows discomfort, disconnect, and imbalance. If Hillary does have narcissistic traits, as many viewers suspect, this kind of image managed affection is textbook. There can be the use of charm and humor to distract from deeper issues. They present curated moments of love for the public, and they control the narrative through visual symbolism like kisses and hand holding. The kiss, I mean, we know it wasn't about mending anything, it was about marketing. The purpose of the kiss was to show us. They wouldn't have kissed unless it was to show us that everything is okay. The motivation behind the kiss was a PR moment, right? To show us that they're in love and they are affectionate and this is their authentic selves. If you've ever dealt with someone high on the narcissistic spectrum, this video is textbook. Hilary is managing Alec, managing the audience, and trying to manage damage, all while pretending she's just being silly. But the power imbalance is loud. I don't know a lot about Hillary, but if I were to classify her as a narcissist, let's say she was, okay, so I'm not 100% certain, but her actions seem to point to overt narcissism. And in overt narcissism, these people are dominant, attention-seeking, charismatic, with an exaggerated sense of self-importance. They're image-focused, they're entitled to control conversations and attention. This is the type of personality that we generally associate with the term narcissist. By contrast, covert narcissists, who can also be known as vulnerable, introverted, or closet narcissists, they are more subtle. Unlike the loud, attention seeking behavior that's associated with overt narcissists, covert narcissists operate in a quieter, more passive aggressive way, making them harder to spot and often more emotionally damaging. They typically have a victim mentality, they have passive aggressiveness, they manipulate silently rather than grandstanding. They use guilt or subtle digs and emotional withdrawal to control others. They have envy and resentment, but they keep it hidden and they have a very fragile self esteem. They appear modest or quiet, but they have an intense need for validation and they are very capable of emotional withholding. That's something that they gravitate to. Love, attention, and approval are used as tools of control. The reason I bring this up is that based on her public behavior, she seems to exhibit more overt narcissistic traits. But even overt narcissists know how to switch gears when they need to protect their image or manipulate perception. So they may dip into covert tactics like playing the victim, using humor to mask control, downplaying or dismissing bad behavior with charm or feigned humility, and framing domination as jokes, quirks, or this is just how we are. And I think that's exactly what we see in this rebuttal video. She is leading as always. She dominates the conversation as she did on the red carpet. She sets the tone, she controls his responses, and corrects him mid thought. This is overt control. She's commanding, confident, and polished. But here's where things get subtle. She doesn't just assert control, she masks it behind humor, charm, and a faux relatable tone. She makes Alec deliver the self deprecating punchline, correctile dysfunction, and follows it up with a kiss, all to create a polished, digestible version of the dynamic. This is covert manipulation, and it's used strategically. The humor makes her look playful. The kiss makes her seem loving, and the video itself makes her look like a wife who's just having fun with her husband. This blend of overt and covert behaviors makes it harder for people to call out. People in her defense could say she's just being funny, they're clearly in love, it's not that deep. But when you've experienced narcissistic behavior up close, you know exactly what you're watching. This is a power play disguised as intimacy. It's dominance is a dominance move disguised as a joke and is a character assassination, that correctile dysfunction statement, disguised as banter. So while they're trying to make light of the situation, all this video really did was pull back the curtain and show us that what we saw on the red carpet wasn't a fluke. It's a glimpse into their norm. For the ending of this video, I want to ground this analysis in real life experience so that you can feel or you can see if these are experiences that you yourself may have experienced. Let's talk about the funny partner who always makes you the joke. You're at a dinner party, your partner starts telling a story about something you did wrong, a mistake, a moment of embarrassment, and everyone laughs, but you don't. You've asked them before to stop bringing it up, but they always say, Relax, it's just a joke. People think it's funny. And now you feel exposed and silenced. How about the loving spouse who only affectionately touches you in front of others? They don't hug you at home. They don't reach for your hand when it's just the two of you. But the second you're out at a family function or brunch with friends, suddenly they're kissing your cheek, wrapping their arm around you, and calling you babe. It's not about love, it's about optics. There's the partner who controls the conversation in every group setting. Every time you try to speak up, whether it's at a gathering, on a video call, or even with mutual friends, they interrupt you, finish your sentences, or correct, in quotation marks, your version of events. They laugh like it's cute and you feel erased. How about the supportive friend who publicly builds you up but privately tears you down? Online, they call you their bestie. They tag you in inspirational quotes, but behind closed doors, they question your choices, make passive aggressive comments, and keep the spotlight on themselves while making sure you know your place in the dynamic. There's the parent who dismisses your emotions as overreacting and does it with a smile. You bring up something hurtful from your childhood, and instead of acknowledging it, they chuckle and say, "Oh, stop. You're being dramatic. That's not how it happened." You feel crazy for even remembering it that way, and the conversation ends again. In the professional environment, you could have a boss or leader who publicly praises you but privately undermines you. In meetings, they call you a rock star. But when you ask for a raise, they act like you're out of line. When something goes wrong, suddenly you're the one who dropped the ball, even if they were the ones steering the project. And finally, how about that partner who films cute couple videos but never lets you speak freely? You're invited into their in quotation marks content, but everything is scripted. When you try to ad lib or show up authentically, they cut you off or re record. You become the sidekick, never the lead in your own relationship. If you've ever had a partner, parent, friend, or even a boss who said all the right things in public, but subtly made you feel small in private, if you've ever been turned into the punchline while they look charming, if you've ever been told to smile through something that felt off in your gut, then you know exactly what this Hilary and Alec video feels like. It's not about who's louder, it's about who controls the room. And sometimes the control doesn't look like screaming, it looks like smiling while slowly stealing your voice. I want to thank you all so much for listening. If this was interesting to you, please like and subscribe. It goes a long way, honestly, for promoting my video and being positive for the algorithm. If you feel comfortable sharing your experiences, please also drop them in the comments and let's have a conversation about this. Really, it's our collective knowledge and experience together that will help us all grow. It's so surprising to see how so many of us have different situations, but the story is always the same. I want to thank you all so much for listening. I appreciate all of you immensely. And yeah, thank you so much. I will talk to you all soon. Bye, everybody.